This is a review of quite an interesting gun that I've got here. It is the Maruzen MP5k gas blowback SMG. As you can see, I've got a PDW stock on it, which I'll talk about later. I'm going to try and do a few more Airsoft reviews. I haven't done any for quite a while, but I like making them, so I'm going to try and get a few more out. I kind of buy the more interesting guns, not normal ones, so there are a few more interesting ones like this I've got, which I can show you. I don't have the box or anything to show you like normal, because this is a second-hand gun that I bought from a forum. It's in quite good condition, but it came with this stock, which wouldn't come with the standard one. Maruzen make quite a few versions of their MP5k PDW. Well, the PDW is obviously the one with the stock. They make a railed version called the CQB, which comes with a flashlight, flash hider. Some of them even come with a little red dot scope, red dot sight on the top. I don't believe they actually make one with this PDW stock on, but you can get AEG, like TM PDW stocks, and quite simply just attach them to the butt plate there to turn it into a carbine or more conventional SMG. This one's probably a Jingong because it's a bit cheaper and it's a little bit wobbly, but fits on there nicely, folds to the side like that. But that isn't a Maruzen, so if you bought the gun you wouldn't get like that with it probably. So I'll get on to the actual gun. Obviously you all know what the MP5 is, developed in the 60s from HK's roller delay blowback rifles like the G3. It's become one of the ubiquitous SMG designs. Never really gone out of service. They tried to replace it with the UMP and MP10 and those kind of weapons, but it's remained pretty popular all that time. The MP5k is obviously a shortened version, K meaning Kurs, which is short in German. It's got a very short barrel. I might be able to show you when I disassemble the gun. Maruzen have been making these gas MP5ks for quite a while now. I don't believe they're still in production, but I've got one here. So when you buy it, you'll get one of these short magazines. They're pretty weighty, obviously, because it's a gas weapon. If I bring out a SIG 226 magazine for comparison, it is thicker than a normal handgun magazine. Actually, the base plates are the same thickness, but they're generally thicker. They're bigger in all dimensions, and obviously they're a bit curved. This is a 30 BB capacity. Note that the clones of these Maruzen MP5Ks, the Well G55 SMGs, only hold 22 rounds, and that's because I've actually got one over here. Okay, maybe I don't forget about that. Anyway, the Well G55 magazines aren't properly double stacked. These you can get BB stacked up and it'll hold 30. But the clone of this gun, the Well, only holds 22 because it's not stacked properly, and that's probably also true of the extended Well mags, which I refused to buy because of that, and they leak a lot. Anyway, oh, there's BBs, that's good. This is the long mag, which you can buy from Asia. It's pretty expensive, about $50. From the UK, about £50. So it is an expensive magazine, but it gives you a bit of extra firepower. As you can see, there's an extension piece here, which can, if you remove that, you can actually stick it on one of these. Or if you had two mags, two long ones, you could probably stack the extension to have a 70-round mag. But comes like this, the extended ones. They're quite hard to get a hold of, but they're really useful because they hold 50 BBs. Follower goes all the way to the bottom, and you can get actually about 52 BBs in there. And websites claim that this has enough gas to last about 200 shots, which is pretty impressive. Better than most. People boast about the KWA's NS2 whatever. This is, 15-year-old gun, and out of this you can get about 200 shots. You fill the mags just as you would any standard gas mags. The inlet valves are on the bottom there. I personally use 01 Pro Gas because it is very cheap. You just take the can off, give it a shake, and do that until it sprays excessively. They fill pretty well. They're really nice mags. Very heavy. This probably weighs about 200 grams, maybe 300, which adds a nice bit of weight to the gun. They click in very solidly. People say that you don't hear the click. On mine you do. So you heard that. Clicks in. locks in very well. No worry about that coming out in a game, which is important because they're so heavy. Onto the gun itself. Being made in Japan, it is mainly ABS plastic. So unlike the real MP5k, the upper receiver is an ABS plastic. It's actually nicer than I thought. I was worried it'd be creaky, but it is pretty solid actually. The lower is also plastic. It's textured quite nicely, which makes it nicer to hold. Foregrip plastic, stock which wouldn't come with it is plastic. The important parts are metal. I was a bit disappointed to find that the rear sight is, the base of the rear sight is indeed plastic, but the drum is not. It uses the standard HK style diopter sights. Disappointingly, they're all the same. If you look at that, all of the different positions are actually the same. You could widen them with a file if you wanted. There's no point really, because they work fine. If I give you an idea of the sight picture here, the closer you get, the better the sight picture really is, but there you go, it's like that. Pretty nice to use actually. I prefer them over normal MP5 sights because they're widened a bit, easier to look down. Other important metal parts is of course the magazine, all the body pins, mag release, selector switch, which is really nice and positive, you can hear that click. It's ambidextrous because it's a Navy style receiver. Charging handle is metal pins. I actually replaced this front pin with a screw because it's a bit tighter, but that's metal. Front sight, barrel metal. Cocking tube inside is plastic unfortunately, but I haven't had any problems with that. That's basically the plastic parts and metal parts. As I said, this is a gas rifle, or SMG. So as I said, gas goes in the magazine. Unlike the real MP5k, when you charge the charging handle, the bolt stays in the open position. Sorry, look up then. Okay, the bolt stays open, and you can see the Garda reinforced nozzle in there, which I installed. This is because the mechanism is based on their open bolt SMGs like the Mach 11. This isn't really realistic because the real MP5k is closed bolt, so that should have closed when I released the bolt, but it stays open on this model. And for every shot, if I show you, the bolt slams forward. That then fires the mechanism. If you look down there, you can see a pin extend. There's the pin. That would extend, shoot some gas in, and of course cycle the weapon again. It is semi-automatic and fully automatic, and I've got to say it's an incredibly impressive gun with the gas I'm using. I'm sure it is on, Duster as well, 134A, but with this Pro gas, which is the same as Abbey Ultra, it's kind of an in-the-middle gas, it is very impressive. So I'll cock it now. What I do, just because it's fun, if you lock the bolt, pull it back, lock it up, which you can with all HK SMGs, you can then insert the mag, see if there's a BB, which that isn't right now, slap it, and you're ready to shoot. I should note that there is no bolt locking function. If you have a look on the mag, there is nothing sticking out to lock the bolt back after you've finished shooting, so it will continue even if there are no BBs. Okay, I'll give it a couple of shots. First of all on semi-automatic. You can see how quick the bolt cycles and how loud it is. Very loud gun. I'm going to switch it over to fully now, and it's got an incredible rate of fire really. I do go for guns with a high rate of fire, but this is really, really good. And if you note, I'm only pulling the trigger for a split second, and it does a 3-round burst. It's really good for that. Really good rate of fire. FPS is a little low, I suppose. I'm not really that bothered because FPS isn't very important. It shoots, I'd say, around 250 FPS with the gas I'm using, which really is good enough for me. I'm going to show you quickly how to disassemble it. I'm going to try and keep this video short. All you do is push out that top pin there. I'm going to push out that pin there. And from there, you can remove the stock. The real one, sorry, not the real one, the Maruzen would just come with this base plate, this back plate you'd pull off. Got a bit of tape here to stop it rattling, but you can then extract, hinge that down, and extract our bolt. As you can see, the bottom of it is metal, that's metal. Here is the Garda reinforced loading nozzle, which springs back. The actual sort of dust cover of the bolt, that part is plastic, unfortunately. Doesn't really matter, it's got a tough recoil spring. You can then slide out the rest of the internals. You push this grey piece in here, pop it out. This has the rest of the mechanism and the barrel. You can see that the barrel is very short. It's about the same, maybe even less than a standard pistol. If I grab my P226 here, yeah, it's about the same as a standard pistol. So you can only really expect pistol-like performance out of it. It has got a hop-up which is fixed. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the hop-up, but it has got a little fixed hop-up nub in there. So the range is okay. Again, it's more of a CQB weapon. It's not an adjustable hop-up. It is fixed in there. So really, you don't want to be using it for anything too long range. But for CQB, it's fine. If I go ahead and reassemble the weapon, then I can talk about other modifications you can do to it. So then we just stick the bolt straight in the top of the gun. Not like that. Like that. Or something like that. There we go. Bolt goes in. You can then get your stock. Connect it. Sorry, close it first. Connect it. Stick the pins in. That's one. I think I've lost the other one. There it is. And the weapon is back together. You can then release the bolt. You're ready to go. Something you may have noticed is that my version does have a threaded muzzle. It doesn't come with this. It was a bit of work to get it on, but I used this King Arms MP5k thread adapter. Again, it was not a perfect fit. The threading inside the muzzle of this is actually plastic, so I just worked it in, and now it's on very solidly. That allows me to attach any kind of 40mm barrel attachment silencer. I'm using this Action one. It was very cheap, like, you know, £6 or something from Hong Kong, but it adds a lot of length to the weapon, makes it look a lot cooler, which is nice. Other things you can do with the weapon, you can get various rail systems which should fit this. You could, I suppose, get a different stock, maybe attach an M4 stock to it. Got a sling point there, single point sling point. That's all it's got, it hasn't got any at the front, so if you want to put a sling on, that's it. Unless you adapt it to make more. You can obviously put your claw mount for an HK style sight. I think that's it really. I may do a quick shooting video of this particular gun, because it's a lot of fun to shoot. Oh yeah, one last thing is a size comparison. A lot of people think that these MP5Ks are like tiny, you know, little pistol sized guns, but really if I get a standard size pistol out, like this P226, they're really not that small. You can see that there. It's quite chunky. That's about the same size as the lower receiver, and then you've got all of that. So really, these are not small guns. If I compare it to an even smaller pistol like this TM Detonics, you can see they're pretty large, but at the same time, much more manageable than any other rifle. If I grab my TM SIG 552, put it next to it, you can see that if it didn't have that silencer on, it'd be a much more compact gun. Actually, it is longer right now because of the silencer, but the actual body is smaller, and it is a more manageable gun. It only weighs about 2 kilograms with the long magazine in, so it's pretty good as a CQB weapon, especially if you go somewhere that allows full auto, because quick pull of the trigger and you've got 4 or 5 BBs flying out there, and it's pretty impressive for that. So yeah, I might do a shooting test in the future, but for now, thank you for watching. More reviews will be on the way. Thank you.